you have to take your wins where you can get them. So you can't always be picky and choosy about the kind of circumstances you need to feel okay or to feel good. Sometimes you just have to go out there and get that quote unquote win. Whether that means going for a walk around the block, going for a hike, calling an old friend, calling an old relationship that you've been meaning to contact, um, doing some work. Sometimes you just have to take the win where you can get it. And in my own life, I've noticed that sometimes I neglect that win. It's like right in front of me. It's right there. It's so easy. Where I all I have to do is do the basic thing, do the basic task, and I've achieved at least one more brick towards the thing I'm building. But I'm not able to take that win, right? And I think the reason I'm not able to take it sometimes, and other times I am able to take it, is it probably has to do with an identity thing. I think it's an identity issue. I think it's the case that whenever the whenever the win is going to be too different from my kind of identity, even if it's an identity I seemingly want to change, right? I think I want to change it. If it's too different from that identity, there's a certain level of resistance that arises, or maybe it's more of just an unwillingness to change so easily, a fear and anxiety to change so easily, and so you're distancing yourself from changing, from becoming a different person, right? You think you want to be a different person, but um, in reality, it's a very scary proposition at the most core levels to change. So, not at the most core, but at the core levels, it's a scary proposition. Watch my previous videos to learn more. And so, it's hard to be clear on this concept. The general gist of this video is that you have to take wins where you can take them, right? You can't be too picky about where your wins come from. I mean, there should be a certain level of pickiness in terms of moral boundaries and reasonableness, law, morality, decency. There should be a certain level of pickiness and a certain set of boundaries within which you operate. But beyond that, I think that in myself, I've noticed that I've wanted my wins to be of a certain variety, of a certain flavor, of a certain kind of. I wanted them to have a certain shine and sheen towards them. And slowly, I'm working on realizing and building in myself the habit and idea and approach that it doesn't have to have that shine and sheen. These wins they can come differently. They can come in different ways and in different forms, and that it's good to be flexible. It's good to be flexible about the kind of wins that you're willing to take. Not ultimately flexible, not completely flexible, right? To the point where you're willing to take wins that are inappropriate, that violate laws, that violate moral boundaries, moral decency, right? Uh, that violate our traditions and ways of living and our customs. Um, you don't want to be a force for chaos, a force for darkness as you gain your wins. But you also don't want to be so timid as to not even seek a win. You also don't want to be so inflexible that you're only gonna accept a certain type of win. Any other type of win you're not gonna accept. I've seen a lot of people like that, where there are wins to be had, plenty of them, but they're not willing to take them. They're not willing to grab them because for some reason they just fetishize a certain type of win. um, they're just attracted to a certain type of win, or they're just so calcified in their thinking. They're not able to kind of something's not able to happen to allow them to kind of recognize that as a win. It's hard to explain. Um, and another set of people, it seems like overall it's just an identity issue in terms of the fact that you don't want to change. You have resistance to change. Watch my previous videos to learn more, but you have a general resistance to change. So, but in that case, I guess you're going to be. It's not just about particular wins. It's about particular wins. It's about overall the resistance you're going to be feeling to change. So, say you're whatever. Say you're, whatever you are, you're a very negative human being in every way: health, relationships, wealth, finances, just overall capabilities in every way. You think you don't like yourself, right? You think you want to change and be different, but there's a certain part of you, a very deep and important part of you, that doesn't want to change and wants to stay exactly the same. So you're going to encounter a lot of resistance as one part of you tries to shift yourself in that direction. And then I guess in that case, the wins, I guess it doesn't, we're talking about wins and taking wins. You should take any wins you could get, but they're going to be very hard to come by, and you're probably going to be incredibly inflexible. But in that sense, it's not inflexible where you're more willing to change and you're not going to be accepting a win. It's that you're pretty much not going to be accepting any wins. In that case, you're going to be very resistant to any change, because changing will feel like kind of like dying, right? For you, because you're changing who you are. Your ego will have to adjust and change and in a sense be different, and that to itself feels like kind of like dying. That doesn't want to be diminished. Watch my previous videos to learn more. But not sure if this video even went to where I wanted it to go. Hopefully there was some usefulness to it. The gist of it is that take wins where you can get them. Don't be too picky about the forward movements, the forward gains that you can make in your life. If you can make a gain and it doesn't exactly align with your previous approaches or the way you want things to happen, but it still aligns with with everything else, like laws in particular, and your set of moral boundaries and other people's moral boundaries that you're going to encounter and you care about, then maybe you should take those wins. Maybe you should take them, right? Yeah.